Hey YouTubers, today we're going to be coloring in my illustration from last week. So if you haven't seen the inking video that I posted that up last week, make sure you go and see that. This week I'm going to be using Copics to do the illustration, and in the end I add a little bit of Prismacolor colored pencils. So if you'd like to see that, please keep watching. And off to the side you can probably see a smaller version of this drawing where I did some color testing and trying to figure out what Copic markers I wanted to use, because I don't use Copics a lot. I just graduated from art school this past semester and we didn't use Copics at all. It was all painting and drawing kind of things. So this is sort of a new-ish medium to me to really do like a full illustration with. So this is a little bit of an experiment, and you know, my smaller drawing was done on like regular printer paper, so when I transferred those colors onto this Bristol paper, which is what I did the inking on, it did turn out a little bit different, and I did have to fight sort of the streakiness of Copics, which is kind of just what any alcohol marker will do. So you can see sort of I go over the same area a lot of times just to sort of smooth it out, and so I'm still trying to get better at this. I'm not an expert by any means, but I do really like Copics. They're just a lot of fun. They're easy, and all the color coding helps a lot to figure out what kind of color scheme you want to use. So yeah, so if I make any mistakes, please don't hold it against me. This is just a fun illustration. I was trying to experiment with my style and proportions and come up with something a little bit more like cartoony and stylized. Also, I want to mention that I did put up the line art for this particular piece on my website at judywinsor.com. If you want to go find that, that's on my blog. If you want to color it in, whatever you want, just make sure you leave like the little copyright symbol at the bottom. And don't take credit for drawing something that I drew, but if you want to color it in, totally, that's up to you. And I'd love to see what kind of color schemes you come up with and what kind of fun you have. So if you do that, make sure you reply me at Twitter or Instagram. I have all that information in the description box down below. As far as the inspiration for this piece, most of it was pretty random. It was just kind of, I was doodling a woman, and I was just kind of playing with her expression, and like the hairstyle and stuff I just thought was cool and edgy. I mean, I like kind of weird different hair. I've had like every color of the rainbow in my hair, so I just wanted to give her something kind of edgy. And then like the butterfly portion with her earrings, that was a photograph I found on DeviantArt that I liked, and I sort of just used it as like loose inspiration to kind of give her this kind of like nature feel that she's, she likes butterflies and stuff. So that's the only part of the drawing that really came from an actual photograph. The rest of it just kind of randomly came to me, which doesn't happen a lot. A lot of times I like to use specific reference photos, but this one was more from my imagination, and especially because of the style, I wasn't going for something realistic. I sort of enjoyed seeing what I could come up with without any like photograph to work straight from. So it was an interesting process. It's very different from like thumbnailing out a very specific idea and then shooting reference for it and getting a very specific look that you have sort of set in your mind from the beginning. One thing I really learned while doing this drawing was that with Copics, or probably any alcohol marker, is that you really have to pay attention to the direction that you're drawing in. And so I wasn't always paying attention to the anatomy and like what the structure was beneath the surface. So I would just kind of fill in an area like a little bit random, or like the direction of my marker strokes would be sort of ambiguous, and I wasn't fully paying attention to what I did. But as I went through the drawing and I got further in, like here you can see I'm kind of just moving like down, and then I start to move across the form to kind of accentuate her collarbones and stuff like that. And so I was like, oh, okay, I really need to pay attention to what direction the shading and the skin is kind of pulling in order to get it to look more natural, because I couldn't completely eliminate the strokes of the marker. And maybe with a different kind of paper or something you can, but with Bristol paper, which is what I've used Copics on before, there's definitely still going to be able to see that evidence of what direction your marker was moving in. So I am, learning still and getting better, and I just thought I would share that with you, is that you should really pay attention to the direction you are creating your marker lines in. And here I'm starting to color in the butterflies, and I wanted to keep them sort of abstract. I didn't want them to look like real butterflies, which I think would be a little too morbid for this piece, that she's got like dead butterflies hanging from her ears. So I just sort of kept them loose and a little bit interpretive. I could have tightened it up maybe more and gone in with colored pencils to get like a more realistic look, but I just wanted it to look like a piece of jewelry, not necessarily a realistic butterfly. So right about now I think I'm done with the Copic portion, and I start coming in with colored pencils to just smooth out some of the colors, get them a little bit more pigmented, and just to sort of tweak the drawing to make it a little bit tighter. I didn't particularly I thought her cheekbone was a little bit high on the right side of the drawing, and so I was trying to kind of soften it, which is something I do a lot. I give women these very intense cheekbones, and they can sort of look kind of fake. So I'm just trying to soften that, and give her a little eyeshadow and just accentuate the warmth on her skin with like a light pink. And I do go in with a warmer pink later. I don't think I filmed that part. Sometimes I stare at a drawing for a really long time and I'm not filming it because I'm like, something's not right here. And so I'll take a marker or a pencil, and I'll make a teeny tiny adjustment, and I'm like, okay, I don't need to film that. Nobody needs to see that. So I do go in a little bit off camera and make some teeny tiny adjustments. Like with the butterflies, I go back with my white gel pen and make that pop a little bit more. Right now it's a little soft, so in the final image, which you'll see here at the end of the video, you can see the finished product. And again, if you want the line art, feel free to go to judywinsor.com. And I hope you enjoyed this video. So take care and stay passionate.